First off, a word of warning. We'll be discussing a topic some might find distressing.
When they get to the point of suicide, it means they've actually reached rock bottom, but they don't wish to reach out for help because of the stigma that will be attached to it.
I saw a pretty troubling video from Kenya the other day. It was from a funeral, but instead of mourning the person in the coffin, the people were beating the person who died, someone they believed should be punished because they had taken their own life. That gives you some idea of the scale of the stigma surrounding suicide in many African countries. And it's not just stigma. In some countries, suicide is a criminal act. That used to be the case in Ghana, but in April this year, it was decriminalized. So if someone attempts to take their own life, they can be given help, not prison time.
The news had spread. Now, to most people, I'm the guy who tried to kill himself. So let go and seek help. Find somebody who can actually help you maneuver through it.
We cannot openly tell somebody in the community that you work at a psychiatric hospital. They will begin to say that you are one of them. I'm not bold enough to tell the person that I work at a psychiatric hospital.
Today on Africa Daily, I'm hearing the thoughts of a doctor, a nurse, and someone who's tried to take his own life. As you can imagine, it's a tough listen, so make sure you're in the right place to hear it. So, can decriminalization really make a difference? I'm Alan Kasujja, and this is Africa Daily. Suicide is a leading cause of death globally. The World Health Organization says that more people die from it than HIV, malaria, breast cancer, war, or homicide. And if you think it happens less in Africa, that might be because we really don't have accurate statistics. Many families will hurriedly bury a person and try to cover up what has happened. But I'm starting today with someone who has been open about the issue, writing about his experience in a blog. Lano has been struggling with depression for years before it all got too much 6 years ago. He started by telling me what it's like to live with depression.
It's like having an unwanted house guest that never leaves. For the longest time, and even to this day, there's a part of my brain partitioned off and the evil me is there. And I'll be very honest with you, I do not like that guy. Because when the good moments are there, he finds a way to make those moments not as great as they should be. Because I remember I won an award in back in senior high school at the speech day. And just as I was about to feel good at myself, he said something about how, I don't remember what it was, but it was something that suddenly undervalued the award I'd won. And now I couldn't enjoy it as much as I wish I could. He's always there to spot the negatives. He's always there to laugh at you, to make fun of you. He's always there to pass comments, even when you just want silence. You just want quiet, to be peaceful for a minute. And it's hard. It's very hard. I don't think I'll ever get rid of him, but I think I can learn how to deal with his presence and learn how to ignore him so much. So I think with work, I will get there.
You know, that is probably the best description of depression I've ever had in my life. And now it makes a lot of sense. And your family, how did your family react when you attempted to take your life?
Oh, they were surprised because I had always been the bright kid. I had always been the one who was just sailing through school, just doing everything that was expected of me. And they didn't know that I'd been hiding this part of myself from them. And I call it the Big Bang. When the Big Bang happened, it took a while for my father to come around because he's a pastor, he's a very religious person. So he was in denial. He accused bad spirits and everything for a while before finally he just came to acceptance that, okay, this is how my brain is and this is how I feel. And we sought help and I've been working on it. So they've been understanding and they are still understanding.
You have been talking about this openly, and I wonder why, because people are judgmental. I imagine for some people, you'll always be the man who tried to take his own life.
Yes. And the reason I opened up was I'm quite a private person. So, and I've spent most of my life trying to make myself as boring as possible. So people just leave me alone because I don't like to socialize that much. But when I got out of the hospital after I was discharged from the hospital, the news had spread. I don't consider myself a popular person or somebody most people would care about to know what had happened. But the news had spread. And like you said, now to most people, I'm the guy who tried to kill himself. So that's when I realized if that's what I'm going to be, I might as well just wear it on my.
So if you were talking to yourself 6 years ago when you tried to take your own life, with the benefit of hindsight, what would you be saying to yourself now?
I would tell myself to learn how to swim, not literally. And this is something I heard from a movie recently. I used to latch onto certain goals hoping they'd make me whole back then. Anytime when I was depressed, I used to think it was because I was lacking in something. So there was a point where I used to think, okay, maybe if I get a girlfriend, I'll be okay. And then I got a girlfriend and I wasn't okay. And there was a point where I latched onto another goal. I thought if I get a car, I would be okay. And then I got my first car and I wasn't okay because all the scenarios I imagined in my head, maybe if I get a car, I'll start going out more, I'll start meeting people more, I'll stop living inside my head. I did get a car and I realized I'm antisocial. I don't want to go anywhere. So I rarely even moved my car. All of these diversions, they only work for a short while, but they don't truly take the problem away. So let go and seek help. Find somebody who can actually help you maneuver through it. And then when you can swim, then all of these goals will also help you.
And this new law that seeks to decriminalize suicide, what sort of impact do you expect it to have?
From my scenario, I wasn't aware it was a crime in Ghana 6 years ago. There was no police officer beside me or anything. There was nobody reported it as a crime. So I think I got off lucky. But this law, I think it's a step in the right direction. It just means we are beginning to accept that people who attempt to kill themselves need help. They don't need to be criminalized or anything. They just need to seek help from professionals. And it's a good thing. Even though I don't think it will change anything immediately, it will take a while for us as a society to fully embrace it because we still have certain stigmas that stem from religion and cultural viewpoints that will take a while to unlearn as a society. But this law is a good step.
So Lana welcomes the change in the law. But as he says, the stigma is still enormous. Someone who knows all about this is Martin. He's a mental health nurse in Accra. We're not using his full name because he says even as a nurse, he can be stigmatized. He told me some of the reasons why people decide to take their own lives.
Even yesterday, when I went to work yesterday, a colleague was telling me that one of her colleagues committed suicide because of an academic challenge. Secondly, they were not getting enough funds to sponsor their school, so they needed to end it all. They thought all is lost. They were not getting support from anybody. You know, the situation in Ghana now, they want to find work. They have family that they have to take care of. No support is coming to them. So there's no option for them. The only option for them is that they have to end it all. And if they end it all, then they are done. So Ghana, basically, the problem that we have is economic challenges. And to add up to that, most of the people do have mental health issues that need to be addressed. Mental health issues in Ghana is not getting the attention that we need. So most of the people end up ending their life without knowing that they have a mental health challenge. So that is basically the problem that we have in the country.
How is mental health viewed in Ghana? Because a lot of people across Africa view it as a weakness. There's a lot of stigma around it. Are people able to openly talk about their challenges?
No. People are afraid to open up because of the stigmatization of mental health issues. Even those of us health workers as a mental health practitioner, we cannot openly tell somebody in the community that you work at a psychiatric hospital. They will begin to point fingers on you. They'll begin to stigmatize you. They begin to say that you are one of them. I'm not bold enough to tell the person that I work at a psychiatric hospital.
Hold on. You're saying that you're not bold enough to say you are a psychiatrist nurse?
Yeah, they think that when you work at that hospital, you tend to become like a patient. So they have to stay away from you. That is the stigma, the challenge that we're having as a psychiatric nurse or a mental health professional.
And what about the situation with patients? Are you seeing more patients now than you did 10 years ago?
We are seeing more patients on the ward, but we are treating them on OPD basis. We are not admitting them because the hospital does not have the resources to keep patients on the ward. So basically, we are treating them on outpatient department. So it's terrible in Ghana.
Are there times when you just feel like giving up?
Sometimes, especially when we think that we can save such people and the person passes on. It's terrible that you feel like we have to give up because we are not getting the support that we need to take care of our patients. Human resource-wise, we are understaffed. The government is not recruiting, even though we are understaffed. We have a lot of people who have finished school and they are still sitting at home. The government is not recruiting. So you go to work and you become overburdened.
And do you see yourself doing this work for much longer?
Yeah, for now, that is my profession. I love the job. I have passion for people who are mentally challenged. That's what I've been trained for. But there has been an exodus of mental health nurses migrating to the UK because of incentives that they will get.
You sound like you regret studying mental health nursing.
In Ghana, like I said, we are all trying to migrate to where we can get better opportunities.
Will more be available with this law changing?
Yes. The law changing will help people who try to attempt suicide because most of them need to see a mental health professional for assessment. It's not like they just want to take up their life. There is something wrong mentally, and that is what is triggering them to commit that offense. So I think that the law decriminalizing attempted suicide is going a long way to help our patients, honestly.
So some massive challenges when it comes to tackling mental health issues. But what help is there for those who are struggling and contemplating suicide? Well, our next guest was suddenly and unexpectedly driven to try to make a difference. When he was still a medical student, Dr. Atsu Latey wrote an article about depression for a newspaper and was contacted by a teacher who recognized that she had the symptoms and asked him for help. His subsequent struggle to access that help led him to set up Ghana's first toll-free mental health helpline, MIndITGH.
She had just lost her child, and then she was experiencing some relationship straits as well. I tried to get her help. I called my friends who were quite close to her. They got help for her at a major hospital, but then she couldn't afford the fees, and it was largely inaccessible as well because it was quite far from where she was. Yeah. Eventually, I didn't hear from her again. So I kept wondering what had happened to her, and this was a moment of introspection for me. I kept wondering whether there are people out there in Ghana who are experiencing the same. So I thought of a way to try to start something to actually solve the problems that I identified in her case. She didn't know that what she was experiencing was a mental health condition. So I realized that many people out there, they didn't know that what they're experiencing were mental health disorders. And also,
a lot of people are depressed without even knowing it.
Exactly. So many people. And also, the help that's available is largely unaffordable and accessible to the ordinary Ghanaian. So I thought of a way of starting something to actually bridge those gaps.
So how did you do it? University student, you're usually broke. I know you're looking dapper and smart now. Does that mean that you're a rich guy or what?
No, I'm not a rich guy. I'm not a rich guy. So yes, I didn't have much resources to start. So at that point, I kept looking deeply into the mental health system of the country, and I realized that the country didn't have an entirely toll-free mental health helpline. So I thought of a way to do that. I didn't have much money. I got a donation of the equivalent of $150 at the time from the Department of Psychiatry in my school. I brought my friends together. We were going to contribute our skills pro bono to start the service. I got a computer engineer. I got someone who is very skilled in publicity. I got a psychologist as well. I got someone skilled in project management. We put our resources together. We got a short code.
Like when they tell you *523#.
Exactly, like how the M-Pesa thing works.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we got a similar thing, and then when you dial it, you actually have a menu of 4 questions. You provide responses, and then receive your response and your phone number.
At that point, what are you thinking? Your students, you're supposed to be reading for your MBCHB.
The teacher's story actually moved me so much to actually juggle that with my MBCHB.
Really?
Yeah, so I was actually making calls to the people in the evenings after studying for my final MBCHB.
Yeah, MBCHB being, of course, the medical doctor's degree. Is there anything you're taught in medical school that prepares you for mental health cases?
So I think the difference between what your thoughts and the reality is that many people conceal their mental health symptoms behind certain things. So people are usually hush about it.
But at that point, what can you offer a mental health patient? Because you're a student.
Yeah, so I knew very well that I didn't have the skills or the license to practice at that point as a medical doctor. So we crafted our service to be a signposting one. We were just going to screen people for their mental health disorders.
Yeah.
We didn't diagnose them. We never told them what we thought they were experiencing. So we just signpost them to where they could get affordable and accessible mental health care from.
What sort of response did you get?
It was quite overwhelming at some points. In the past 5.5 years, we've had over 3,500 people using the short code service.
Yeah.
At one point in time, we went on a TV show in the country, and then we had about 700 people in the day using the short code.
And just tell me a little bit about some of the stories that you heard that made you say to yourself, I'm really glad I set up this line.
We meet people who have suffered significant loss in their lives, some financial straits, losing their loved ones as well. One particular case I remember is somebody died in our short code from the northern part of the country.
Yeah.
So this person actually dialed the code on behalf of someone in the community.
Yeah.
Apparently, this particular man, he's said to come out to the town in the night to shout and scream. So she was calling for us to help provide care for him. We managed to get a community mental health nurse who was very close to him and to actually visit him. They found him in this mud shack. He was actually shackled. So he
shackled?
Yes. So during the day, he was shackled. Yes. So during the day, he's shackled in the mud building. And then he has relatives coming to give food to him. Sometimes he actually breaks free and then goes into the community to shout.
It's not even the first time I'm hearing about people being shackled. I've also heard about disabled children being shackled. And so I imagine that one of the biggest or most important aspects of dealing with mental health in communities is education.
Exactly, and community involvement as well, getting the community involved in the care of people as well. Also, mental health care education must be inculcated in the educational curriculum of Ghana.
Someone tries to take their lives, and it's usually a cry for help.
That's true.
And usually at their wits' end. But then you lock them up.
That's true. So this law is an outmoded one and was actually instituted when we didn't understand that suicide was largely linked to mental health disorders.
What then do you see as the greater impact of this law? What is it going to change?
So I think fundamentally it's going to offer a more humane approach. Also, I believe that it's actually a stepping stone to actually create a platform for conversation about mental health because more people are becoming mental health aware. Now, one thing about decriminalizing attempted suicide in Ghana is that it's also going to affect or influence mental health policy in other countries as well. Ghana is usually seen as a beacon of hope for many countries in Africa. So doing this would actually push such conversations in other parts of Africa as well, where attempted suicide remains criminal.
In your experience, before I let you go, someone who's listening to this podcast might be thinking to themselves, what are the questions I need to be asking? How do I know that my friend needs help?
Yeah. So I'll say, first of all, it's essential to create a very open and safe space for people to open up about their predicaments in a very non-judgmental way. People may say things like, life is not worth living anymore. You might find someone who suddenly isolates himself or herself. You find someone who seems to be putting things in order as if he or she is about to travel. Those are telltale signs of suicidal tendencies or ideation. Some of them can actually express you that they are feeling suicidal. Assure them and then encourage them to see a medical professional.
Wow. Some amazing people working in the mental health field, but what a challenge. Our thanks to Dr. Atsu and Martin, and most of all, Lano, for so bravely speaking out on such a sensitive subject. Africa Daily is a BBC World Service production, and my producers today were Janet Ball and Sharon Hammonds. Our editors are Rachel Akidi and Simon Peaks. Remember to listen out to the BBC's new Focus on Africa podcast later with 3 essential stories to round off your working day, and let us know what you think about the big stories we are bringing you day in, day out. You can find me on Twitter, where my handle is @Kasujja, and that's with 2 J's. And if you're experiencing emotional stress and would like details of organizations which offer advice and support, you can go online to Befrienders Worldwide. That's Befrienders Worldwide. And remember, be kind and ask your friends and family how they're doing.
The attacker had very good knowledge of banking systems.
$2.1 billion in stolen funds.
Money laundering operations.
A cyber criminal group.
These are smart guys.
Seasons 1 and 2 of The Lazarus Heist from the BBC World Service are available in full right now.
Following the twists and turns in the incredible story of the Lazarus Group hackers.
The Lazarus Heist from the BBC World Service. Catch up with the whole series now, wherever you get your BBC podcasts.